Is there something wrong with capitalism? On the heels of the Great Recession, it's become a fashionable argument, advanced by the left and, of course, dismissed by the right. But what if there really is something wrong? Our next guest has some solutions. He says, quote, "The world is awash with capital, but is lacking in the innovation it needs for progress." He's none other than Clayton Christensen, business professor at Harvard and best-selling author of books, including The Innovator's Dilemma. Clay, great to see you this morning, and thank you for joining us. People have heard, at the very least, of one of your concepts, disruptive innovation, and you have made the persuasive case for how disruptive innovation can be a great engine of economic growth. Do we simply not have enough disruptive innovation in today's American economy?
That's exactly right. Disruptive innovation transforms complicated, expensive products into things that are so affordable and accessible that many more people have the access to own and use these products, like the Model T, the personal computer. And because it creates more people to buy products, you have to hire more people to build them and sell them and distribute them and service them. And disruptive innovations creates almost all of the net jobs in the economy. And over the last 20 years, there is a lot of capital around, but it's not being used to create new disruptive innovations because of the way our financial leaders measure profitability.
Well,
it appears like investing in innovation is not profitable to them.
What companies need to be doing a better job of that?
Private equity funds or companies like General Electric and Oracle, where what they're doing is investing to make good products better, or they invest in innovations that make the companies more efficient. And those things, on average, reduce jobs in the economy.
Then what companies are doing it?
Growth.
Then what companies are doing it right? Who should we look to for examples of great innovation?
Intuit on the West Coast. They understand this intuitively. And if you look at their performance over the years, both improve in profit and growth, not in not episodically, but over the long term. They have a great balance between the creation of new disruptive innovations and keeping the current operations vibrant.
Clay, as you must be well aware, some of your ideas are downright heretical in capital markets. If we look, for example, at the profit growth that we've seen since the onset of the financial crisis, much of the margin expansion has come through productivity improvements. But productivity improvements are the antithesis, effectively, of what you're advancing, are they not?
That's right. That's right. And so as they invest in efficiency innovations, they create or emancipate more and more capital. But then what they do is they invest it in continued investments in efficiency innovation. And so we are just awash in capital. The cost of capital is zero, and yet they continue to measure profitability by measures that are just not relevant
So
anymore.
what ultimately, and let's get down to the important stuff here, what should companies like Intel, like GE be? Now, let's remind everybody, Intel was an extremely disruptive company once upon a time. What should they be doing?
Right.
What should they be doing with, for example, all the cash that's building up on the corporate balance sheet? Apple's $137 billion. In your analysis, and I don't want to put words in your mouth, but it sounds to me doing absolutely no good whatsoever.
That's right. So because the cost of capital now is very near zero, if you're doing an NPV calculation, what it tells you is where in the past investing in things that only pay off in 5 or 8 years looked unattractive to you, today, with the cost of capital nearly zero, the NPV of investing for long-term payback should be should look very profitable for them. And so if they want to keep growing and want to be growing 5 and 8 years down the road, they need to invest in these things today.
But if
or
I'm
when they need the growth, they won't have growth.
As a potential shareholder, or as I look at companies that are called very innovative, like a Twitter, a Facebook, so many of these other tech companies out west, they're not turning those innovations into hard dollars. And when we look at corporate America, when we look at it in this economy, don't we need to think about the bottom line and who's making real dollars today? Because innovation is great, but these companies need to make money.
No, that's exactly right. And they need to measure their achievement in ways that allows you to take that profitability and invest in the next generation of growth. If they just have this one idea and it grows and then matures, if they don't have the next wave, the
hold on, but how are you going to,
of the enterprise will decline.
How are you going to get to that next wave of innovation if your company isn't making money at the first wave? You've got to finance it somehow. You've got to keep your team alive.
That's exactly right. And an invention is not an innovation. What they need to have an engine or a process by which they take the product, the technical idea, and create a business model that has staying power.
Clay.
And some of the most
Clay, what do you say about a company like Amazon? Amazon is a company.
They don't have the ability to create new business models. That's
you celebrate Amazon as an innovator, yet Amazon makes almost no money relative to the volume of revenue it brings in. At what point do these innovations begin to turn into real margins? Because that's Amazon's problem.
I'm not sure that that's Amazon's problem, because if capital is scarce, then you want to measure how productively does capital create revenue. But if capital is abundant and the cost is small, then it's not clear to me that you need to measure profitability in the same way.
That is a powerful concept. Clay, I'm afraid we're going to have to end it there, but we look forward to our next interview very much.